Well, hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of the TypeScript Tea Time. I'm your host Mirko and hope you're having an awesome day today. I think that should have done it. I can hear myself at least. Thank you very much for the hint, Homeless. That it was very, very useful. Apparently, so sometimes I just plug off the microphone. Very good. Sound is okay. Whew. Thank you. Yeah, let's hope that no war is coming to Europe, not to any other country, and that the war is ending soon. The ones that we have in our world currently. Let's drink some tea on the hope. On hope. All right, so let's jump into some coding stuff. Good to see you again, by the way. Also, welcome to everybody. To anybody else who joined the TypeScript Tea Time. Again, I'm Mirko. Today we're going to do some infrastructure as code. If you remember correctly, we are building a newsletter service, basically MailChimp, but only for one person, so people can subscribe with their email. They can unsubscribe from the emails that they receive, and most importantly, we check whether there is a new blog article on the blog that we're kind of watching. Like we have a watchdog on that blog. We always check the RSS feed like once a day. And when there is a new blog post within the last 24 hours, then we send a newsletter email to every single person in our contacts list to inform them, hey, there is a new blog post. Please check it out. It's really cool. You need to read it. Kind of. And we got that working. So this is a basic workflow that we do for that. So this is the output kind of an AWS step function, which is a service to orchestrate code. Vio, welcome back in. Good to see you. How are you doing today? Cheers on you. So a step function, the actual most important one, besides subscribing, I think. It starts up here in the start point. Then we check whether there was an article within the last 24 hours. This is a Lambda function that has not too much code, to be honest. Then we go inside of a branch, and this is inside of AWS step functions. Step functions being a service with which you can build workflows out of different services on AWS. Some Lambda functions, some of the if-else construct, like mappings and whatnot. Yeah, then we get all the contexts. This is an API call, in fact, to let me see, SES, Simple Email Service. Then we chunk them. This is another Lambda function. And then we do for each chunk, so for each list of 50 contacts or up to 50 contacts, we transform it first, and then we send emails to each of these contacts. So they have like an email newsletter. So they receive an email. There's a new blog post. The blog post title is awesome TypeScript Tea Time stuff. And then they have a link and they can click on it. And yeah, then they immediately know, oh, there's a new blog, and they can read it immediately. So that's what we've built. And all of this is, in fact, we built this using AWS SAM, the serverless application model, which is a way of building serverless applications completely using infrastructure as code, basically. We had, however, before that, we already built like the subscribe endpoint, and we've also built the unsubscribe endpoint, and we set up all the lists, the contact lists. We also have, what did we have? Another email template for like a welcome email, and some more. And those are not managed by any form of infrastructure as code currently. And that's what I want to change, in fact. Why? Because it's much easier to manage. So infrastructure as code, if you've never heard of it, it's together with a DevOps, the advent of DevOps essentially, is a discipline where you just write code and you manage all of your infrastructure using code that you put inside of a Git repository. Ideally, you also automatically deploy everything using a CI/CD pipeline or CD pipeline in that case. And all of that is managed basically for you. You just write code which can be reviewed, which can be checked statically for any kind of configuration errors, like security errors and whatnot. SAM is one of those tools. So AWS SAM. Hello there, Hector. Good to see you. Welcome back in. AWS SAM. Here's the link. We have already set that up. This is basically a CLI tool together with this template language, which we have right here. And this template here deploys basically everything that you see right here, except for the underlying contact list that is inside of this one here. But other than that, everything is basically managed using SAM. Thanks, Sam. Cheers on you, Sam. So today I want to codify the other stuff that we already did, which we did the last couple of streams, and we did most of it using the CLI, the AWS CLI in this case. So I basically have all the commands written down here in this kind of preliminary blog post. The problem being, it is not automatic, and it's like I typed out every single command, ran everything, and then one by one these things have been deployed. So what we will do is take all of this and put it instead inside of SAM. I think that's going to be a nice practice, kind of. In getting to know SAM a bit better. It's also not that hard, because I have I had a hard day. A good day, but basically I came back in 30 minutes ago. I did get my visum for my Japan trip, so that's very good, very good. Now we'll be in Japan in like 2 weeks. Oh, it's actually really just only 2 weeks left. Thank you so much for the support, Hector. Thank you. I appreciate you. So, let's get to this. I think the first one, the simplest one, is going to be this kind of welcome email template, which shouldn't be too hard. We already have the template right here, so that's good. And we already have one template. So how does that sound? Have you been working with, anybody has worked with infrastructure as code before? Maybe on Azure, maybe on Google Cloud Platform, maybe with a completely different cloud provider. There are also smaller ones out there, like maybe some Terraform or Pulumi. Pulumi also being one tool that I want to check out. You're trying to learn Azure. Hey, very nice. Azure has one very nice benefit. You can actually delete everything very nicely when you're using the UI, because you always deploy it inside of a resource group. You can just delete the resource group and everything is done. Gone. AWS doesn't have that, and that's super annoying. Sometimes you deploy stuff without even knowing, and at some point it does incur costs for you, which is very distracting. Very nice. Yeah. Azure. The principles still apply that you learn with AWS. So if you've learned one of those cloud providers, a lot of knowledge can be actually transferred. Everywhere you go, you will do some security stuff. Everywhere you go, you will do some permission stuff. Everywhere you go, you will probably have some form of infrastructure as code as of some point. So yeah, That's good knowledge, I think. Let's see here. So we have our template. In this case, it will be welcome email template. Email template. Colon. It is of type, and I'm writing down there, AWS : SES : template. This being like the SAML, SAML is something different. AWS SAM template kind of language. The anatomy. Partially, you basically just write the stuff that you would write in CloudFormation, which is the AWS service for infrastructure as code. And in fact, SAM is basically just deploying something with the help of CloudFormation. As we might be able to actually check, if we go, for example, to CFM CloudFormation inside of our AWS console here, I am logged in. Then we will see this, well, they call it stack, which is just the unit of deployment. Should send email, should send newsletter. That's the thing that we are working on. I think the directory is actually called like that. Somewhere we have the name should send newsletter. Up here, description should send newsletter. Does it take this one into account? Ah, here, there we go. Inside of the SAM config.toml, which is yet another JSON YAML thingy. There we have the stack name. We also have like where it actually uploads everything. So we should find in our S3 file storage, we should find this bucket. Sorry, this one, where everything is managed. The code is uploaded, then it's checked against what kind of differences there are, and then only the differences are actually deployed. So inside of here we see all of the stuff actually that we have written down here. So for example, this newsletter SFN should be somewhere in here as well. There you see it. We have a role and we have the ARN. In this case, I'm looking at the outputs. I want to look at the resources, in fact. There's the actual step function, the state machine, sorry. And so on. All right. Let's go down, back to our AWS template here. Now we have properties inside of here. Properties, I think. And this is an object which, in the case of AWS SES template, has a template, and inside of there, so this isn't properties is now like an object in JavaScript, in JSON. It has a property template, and the property template in turn has a template name. Let's call it just ASDF. It has a subject part, ASDF, and so on. And the way we find out what kind of properties we need is by looking at the documentation. Do we have this inside of here? We can go to CloudFormation here. So this is the CloudFormation documentation, and inside of here we see this AWS SES template. So this is always basically start with SES, then the service that you're using, in our case simple email service, and then the kind of resource that you want. So if you want a Lambda function, you would probably do something like AWS Lambda function, I think, maybe. If you want IAM, AWS IAM role, if I remember correctly. That's kind of the pattern that we have here. If we go to SNS, for example, we see AWS SNS subscription or topic and so on. So in here we see exactly the stuff that we're currently writing inside of here. So we have the name, then we have a type, which is this. We have the properties, which has a property template, and inside of there we actually have the template, which consists, and we see this, you could write JSON, you could also write YAML. Here we see these properties, each one being a string. And currently it's AST, yeah, it's ordered by alphabet. Oh, I need to indent this once more. This is very, very vulnerable to actually wrong indentation. Be aware of that. YAML being something that is like oriented towards Python or on Python. And in Python, the white space actually determines your scope. And so it is also for YAML. So now we can start. So let's call this one welcome. Let's call the subject part, and I will kind of duplicate everything. I mean, I already have everything deployed from before, but I will now do like a parallel change refactoring. Essentially, I'm doing a refactoring now on the infrastructure level. So I will basically create a complete copy of it, and then just change the references as soon as I've created the copy. I finished completing the copy. I will just change the references from all the code that is still referencing the old stuff. I will just change it to the new stuff. There is no data yet, so I have nothing to lose on that front. The subject part. All right, let's continue with our welcome email. We have the stuff here. So subject part being welcome to the newsletter. The text version being welcome to the newsletter. MailChimp clone, are you going to use pinpoint SES? We are using SES, indeed. Indeed, we are. Hey, Groxy. Welcome in. You have worked with AWS before, it seems. We are using a couple of endpoints from simple email service, indeed. Like the contact lists, and we also use send bulk email. Anything else? Send email, and maybe one or two more. So we have the text part, and now we also need the HTML part in here. Yeah, very cool. Debit in some AWS service is serverless, etc. Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Okay, that should be about it for the welcome template. Nice. Earlier I called it email newsletter welcome, so we are kind of free to go on this part. That's nice. Yeah, we pretty much got everything deployed, and I'm now in this phase where I'm going back to the stuff that we've originally did for the subscribe endpoint. So the architecture is like this. You have a subscribe workflow. You have a user who's using a web form, or sorry, a website, a form inside of a website. It sends a post request to an API gateway. This triggers a step function, and the step function essentially just says create a contact with AWS, SES, and then send a templated email for sending the welcome email. Unsubscribe, very, very similar. We just call delete the contact. We could do some other stuff like unsubscribing from one specific topic, but there's no need in our use case. And then we have the most important one that is actually already completely in infrastructure as code using SAM. It should work, yeah, exactly. It should work with a static website. We also set up CORS so that you can actually include it inside of your website. I'm not 100% sure if any of the web developers, if I have a web form, an HTML form, can I post to pretty much anything, or do I get CORS errors in the form if CORS is not set up for that website? I definitely know if you're using JavaScript and you want to make a post request to a server that has not enabled CORS for your website, then you get CORS errors. But I don't know whether you get those for when you're using a form. If you know, please tell me. That would be very interesting. I kind of read something about that it's for forms. There is no such CORS, which sounds weird, to be honest, if you ask me. But that means pretty much all the phishing can just happen. Yeah, and the check whether, so we have a blog, and whenever there's a new blog article, we send information or newsletter, like, how do you call it, notification emails. Hey, there's a new blog post to all our subscribers, and that's what we're doing with this last step. This one is the most complex thing indeed. So I will show it in a minute. Let me just run deploy, I think, on this one. So we use the SAM CLI, which I have included. So SAM, the serverless application model from AWS, a way to build serverless applications. Validate first, so that we see that our template is at least halfway correct. Then we can build, so that our TypeScript code and so on is actually being compiled. And then we can say SAM deploy. And now it uploads it to a bucket, the bucket that we've seen here in this SAM configuration, to this bucket apparently, in the US East region. The bucket is still deployed inside of a region, right? Although S3 is a global service. That's kind of weird, but yeah, anyway. It then checks, with the help of AWS CloudFormation, it checks where are the differences to what I have actually deployed. And then it tells us, oh, there is a new template. And we also apparently, we changed the new blog article email template. Why? That should not... Well, I think we didn't make some changes, but we haven't deployed them yet. Not great from our... SAM is indeed an AWS thing, yeah. It is absolutely designed for AWS. I'm not sure whether you can deploy to any other cloud provider with it. But there's I think there's an alternative for Azure as well. Azure has its own infrastructure as code, IAC language. They called it, I forgot. You can use like the cross-platform ones, like Terraform is one of the, maybe the most common one. Terraform, that is this one from HashiCorp. I don't like it too much because I have to learn a new language. They have like a domain-specific language that they use. And you can deploy with that. There's also a few others. There's in particular Pulumi, which I still want to check out because you can write TypeScript code and some other codes. And you can, I think, use all the Terraform stuff, but don't quote me on that. As you can see here, we are just writing TypeScript code. Comes with its benefit, comes also with its minuses. You can also use Python, Go, C#, Java, and YAML. And Azure has another one. Terraform. You can use some scripting, of course. Anybody knows? Anybody remembers the name? Azure specific infrastructure as code language. I forgot the name. Bicep. That's it. That's it. Here you go. It is very much oriented, or at least when I look at it, it feels a lot like the HashiCorp thing. Although you actually have to type stuff, which you might have to do in HashiCorp as well. Yeah, you can do it in VS Code and all of that fun stuff. Because you said you're looking into Azure, right? So that might be something for you. or something like Pulumi or Terraform, which you can do for everyone. You can even use Terraform with like your local Docker, which is something. All right, so we want to deploy this. And now, going back to Groxy, what we built with Sam so far is this step function. The newsletter daily. In here, and it does work, yay! In here, we first check the blog. Pretty much every blog page has this RSS feed. So here I'm on dev.to. You can just go to /RSS. And then you have this XML, which gives you the information for the new blog posts. And depending on the service, this might actually be all the blog posts. In terms of our friend dev.to, I don't think it is the complete one. It's only a subset. Medium, I think, probably has 1, 2 using RSS feed. Did you know you have to... Yeah, and RSS is like this publishing format. I don't exactly know. It might be RSS pagination. I don't know. This person can't find anything. It appears that Atom allows the following syntax. And there you can actually have pagination. Sorry, touching the microphone. This person, so the answer here on Stack Overflow can't find anything on RSS either. But it's called really simple syndication. I didn't even know that. So maybe it does not have pagination because that's not really simple. Yeah. This is defined in RFC 505, feed paging and archiving, section 3. Apparently you can, at least for Atom again. In Atom. But not everything, not every provider may support it. So be aware of that. It depends on your blog provider. They kind of have the same properties oftentimes, like title and pub date you will find in pretty much everything. I think GUID and link as well. And maybe the description. But as of then, some providers include something like the thumbnail, for example. Dev.to includes categories, and so on and so on. So there is some degree of freedom, and it depends then on your blog provider. So we use that. And we pull that down and we determine whether there is a new blog post within the last 24 hours, because our use case is that simple, kind of. This is a Lambda function. We can actually go inside of the state machine. Maybe that's nicer to see. So this is a Lambda function. Then we have a choice state. Thank you so much, Hector, for the second time for the Prime sub. Cheers on you. Woo. I appreciate the support. I think the next thing that I actually want to buy is this plop thingy. Oh, because I did notice, while it may not be as strong, but in particular because I'm German, the P's and the K's and the T's and the S's, they still put a lot of pressure on the microphone, and I want to reduce that ever so slightly. The sound just becomes much smoother, I think. Particularly being in German, my pronunciation is a bit like, the accent is a bit right. Know what I mean? Anyway, what will be interesting, however, is the 3 months that I will be in Japan as of in 2 weeks. I will probably cut down on streaming, and also I will probably also not use a camera in that time because I live with people together. And I will probably also not have my microphone, but maybe I take my microphone with me. It's probably worth it. I definitely want to continue streaming. It may not be as often as these days. In particular, the last 3 days I think in the last 3 days we streamed like 5 times. which is above average for me, I think. Coming back. Again, I appreciate it, your support. So coming back, so we use step functions being an orchestration or like workflow building service. It is very, very visual. We have our Lambda function that checks whether there is a block. Then we have this inbuilt if statement, essentially, a choice. And so what this Lambda function returns is a JSON which has a property has new block article, being a Boolean, true or false. And this state just checks, is this value true? Well, if that is the case, we have to actually do all the email sending, this left part. If not, well, in that case, there is no new article, do nothing. Just say finished. Now for the interesting part. We actually have a new block article. One more thing, this function also takes the new article and puts it in another property called, I think, new article or something. And this gets passed down to all of these functions, essentially. I pass through this data. We first get all the context from simple email service, which is where so SES is essentially our contact book. Is that what you call it? I think you have our phone book, email database. And what we want to do actually is just immediately send emails in bulk. The problem being, so ideally this would be just 1 step and 2 steps, and then we're done. However, SES does not allow us to send emails like 100 or 5,000 emails at the same time. It only allows us, in fact, to send 50 emails at the same time. Not very bulky. So what we do is we chunk everything. This is a very, very, I think it's a 3-line Lambda function. It also runs very, very quickly. I think it spins up most of the time, and then the actual execution is just like done. So this gives us a list of chunks, or a JSON which has a property called chunks, and inside of there it's an array of contexts that have like 50 contexts at the same time, as well as the newsletter itself. And then what we do is we have a map state, which is pretty much the same. If you've worked with Python or JavaScript, you might be familiar with this. This is basically a for each. Or in our case, it is a for each. And for each of these chunks of up to 50 emails, together with the information that we have, that what is the new blog article, we transform it ever so slightly, and then we send the emails. The pinpoint kind of lets you run marketing campaigns in bulk, which might work here. I think it uses SES behind the scenes. Oh, interesting. I haven't looked into pinpoint yet, so I gotta check that out. AWS pinpoint. Multi-channel marketing communication service. Let's take a quick look. Thank you for pointing me to that. Amazon Pinpoint is a flexible and scalable outbound and inbound marketing communication service. You can connect with customers over channels like email, SMS, push notifications, voice, or in-app messaging. Very nice. Amazon Pinpoint is easy to set up, easy to use. Are you using it professionally? And it's flexible for all marketing communication scenarios. And we kind of have a marketing communication scenario, right? We want to market our or to advertise our blog our new blog articles. That's the use case that we have. So this might actually still apply. And in our case, it would just, at the very beginning in particular, you probably go for this email. It's the simplest one. We do not have an app. Voice is probably also not what we need. Push notification, I think you need an app to actually have push notifications registered. You cannot just simply send people push notifications, if I remember correctly. SMS would be an option. So voice and SMS would be an option. And of course email. I was thinking of offering this as a business-to-business marketing service. Oh, very nice. Yeah, I can imagine that. We will not go that far, I don't think. This is basically, why I'm doing this is basically to get more familiar with step functions and a couple of the other servers that are involved. Most importantly, I think, is step functions. And what we have in mind is instead a startup idea that came like, yeah, Homeless and Hector and Vio and a couple of the other people might already know. Basically what I have in mind is an app that wants people with sensitive skin of specific products that they need, that they want to buy. They send us a photo, but essentially we parse the ingredients from the photo of the skincare product that this person is about to buy, and we tell them this is going to cause some allergic reaction with a probability of like 70%. This one should be all right. This other one might also cause some trouble. You have to expect this and that. That's the idea. And getting to know more about serverless is one of the parts towards this goal, in fact. Let's continue here ever so quickly. Maybe we can watch the video. Is it allowed for me to stream the desktop audio? I don't have desktop audio anymore set up, apparently. Okay, that's unfortunate. I will check it out later. Here we have customer and usage data. Send your first and third party data to Amazon Pinpoint. Then we have audience management, we have campaigns and journeys. One thing that I can actually, it's probably very, very important. It's same as audience management. If you do not have a very, very specific audience already, then, or you have multiple audience maybe, males between 50 and 70, and I don't know, males between 20 and 35. You probably want to market them differently, being much more formal maybe in the campaigns and giving them different products. Then you have the different channels, SMS, voice, and so on. And you also see the engagement data. I see. There is a way inside of SES that you can track like opens and whatnot as well. And also transactional emails, very good. So not only marketing, but also transactional stuff. Transactional being typically the stuff that you have like somebody orders something, then you want to send them an order confirmation and whatnot. Maybe the bill for their company and whatnot. So that's where like the transactional stuff comes in. Marketing is more like reach out to them, try to make them buy something or prepare towards buying. Nice. And bulk communication. Yeah. One nice thing about the bulk sending is you can actually, so this API from SES. Oh, what did I do? I will change that later. I will just cancel later. The send bulk email. I think we pushed this one. Come on. I want to move you up to the top. Sending bulk email is, you can actually customize for each user, which means you can put in the name of the user inside of the template, and maybe their custom, like their favorite sauce, I don't know, the favorite hot dog sauce, and so on, inside, while still kind of making a bulk request in terms of at least 50 emails at the same time. By the way, since we're talking serverless all of this time, yesterday, was it yesterday? Maybe before yesterday, I watched the serverless office hours here on Twitch from AWS. So it's s12d.com, I think. Serverlessland.com. That's not it. Let me find this also quickly. And they have a couple of new information. One of them being there are a couple of cool things. To one of you guys, one of your friends, sorry, I try to avoid guys. The other day I said that DynamoDB can only process 25 items at the same time with a single API interaction, but it's actually going to be increased like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, to 100. It appears. So check this one out if you want to see some new news about serverless stuff. This is official from AWS, I think, if I remember correctly. Also, step function has a couple of new functions inside of there, which we've talked about earlier. And there are a couple of more cool things, like Cognito also has now time-based passwords, which I like. And then there was this other thing, which is very, very useful, I think. We actually have a pattern collection and a couple of workflow collections even, which I did not know before. But this is basically like pre-built step functions, pre-built like how to integrate my Lambda function with an API gateway and so on. Very, very, very cool. That's super, super useful indeed. And I've watched the serverless office hours a couple of times, but I still missed it. So I think this might be actually super useful for a lot of people. It's in multiple, you can find stuff in multiple languages. You can see stuff like, if you want to see something in SAM, how to integrate my application load balancer with Lambda, how to integrate AWS Amplify with, or deploy Cognito, API gateway, and Lambda. Or maybe, what else do we have? We should look at, since we're using step functions at this point, maybe let's look at those. We see how to trigger creates a Lambda function that stores payload in S3 and starts an express workflow, for example. And then if we look at this, we see the complete template. It is, they somewhat documented, more or less. They at least provide the descriptions, which is already very, very useful. You still have to know a lot of these services behind the scenes, but with this, for example, you can pretty much deploy all of this, which is, and you, did you see that little button on the right? Where did it go? It's gone. Let's maybe take this one. Like a minute ago there was like a button on this right side where we could just deploy it. Did you see it? It wasn't just my imagination, was it? Here. Launch stack. Look at that. What do you look at that? Or we can just, apparently if we download this, we can just say SAM guided and then it deploys everything. Very nice. Yeah, I think that will be super helpful, and I will definitely take a look from time to time here. Whenever we're like, I have no idea how to do that. Let's first look here to see the patterns. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. That's what they always say, right? Thinking in patterns is like the way towards seniority, indeed. So check that one out. I shared the link, right? Yeah, at least to the workflows. Up at the top, you could also see the patterns. All right. So we talked a lot. I think we have our welcome email template now deployed. Let's double check. AWS SES v2 get template. Get email template. Well, get email template. And we can say, oh no, I click Control-0. Zoom in. Was this the size that I've had before, or one more? I think this one, right? So minus template name, and you cannot see anymore. I'm actually always writing down there. Okay, SES v2 get email template. Minus template name is going to be welcome. And then we see there's our email template. Very nice. So it did deploy, indeed, under the correct name. And we can now use it. Very nice. Very nice. Now use it means. So let's check what we need. So we have our email template. We should probably at some point also create the email identity with the help of Sam. That might be more complicated, sorry. Excuse me. So other than that, create email template, test the email template. So this will, I'm still writing on this blog article. Didn't find the time the last couple of days because we were coding all the time. And today I didn't have the time either. So sending your first email. This is like the hands down, doing everything with the AWS CLI to get an understanding of what is actually happening. Sending an email, we don't need to do that. Congratulations on sending your first email. Create a contact list. I think that's what we need to do. So we have all of this, and we want to call create contact list. In other words, we probably want to have something like AWS : SES : contact list. Do they write it in? Yeah, they write it like this. What up? And now we can take you, my friend, go to our SAM template, and we can put you right here. Newsletter contact list. Whams, put you right there. And we deploy an AWS SES contact list. We need to give it a name. Let's call it newsletter. How did we call it last time? I need to call it differently in this case. Email newsletter. Newsletter contacts. Oh, just newsletter, I guess. That should be fine because it's in the context of a contact list, right? Description. Email list, email contact list for our blog newsletter. Oh, yeah, blog newsletter. So we do not have any tags. Is this required? It is not required. Wait, that's topics. Tags. Tags is not required. So let's remove that one. And in terms of topic, did we specify a topic back then? Create contact list down there. We have one topic name which is just called newsletter. Okay. Let's create a topic. Updates required, no interrupt. An interest group, theme, or label within a list. A contact list can have multiple topics. Required, no. Do we need it? I think we can just say this then. Although it will be slightly different. Let's duplicate what we have here. So topics. How do I write this? I think I do something like this. Topic name, display name, description. So this is the syntax in YAML can be slightly confusing. So this is a new array element inside of the topic. And it has all of these properties. So in JavaScript, in JSON, sorry, this would be like topics, colon, this is an object, this is a list, and inside of there we have an object which has like the topic name, display name, and description, if you're familiar with JavaScript and not as familiar with YAML. So that's the YAML version of that. All right, topic, new article reminder, new blog article reminder, display name, new blog article reminder, description, sends an email when a new blog article is published. Done. Did we miss anything? Default subscription status apparently. And we should see this. This is a list of topics in here, so I can click on there. And then we see in terms of YAML, this is the default subscription status, description, display name, and topic name. So exactly what we have here. And this one is default subscription status to be applied to a contact if the contact has not noted their preference for subscribing to a topic. It is in fact I think it's an enum. They should write this here. They should write that here. And this enum having the value of opt-out. Opt-out. So we want people to be just subscribed by default to this topic. And it is going to be our only topic, in fact. That should be about it in terms of deploying this nice little email list. Let's do it. So let's go again. Sam validate. And we're green. Now we're green. Very good. Sam build. Do all the things, Sam. Did anybody watch Clarissa back in the day? It was like a kids series back in my day. And there was always this one dude. So the main character was Clarissa, and her friend Sam. He didn't come in like her friend didn't come in through the door, but you always heard him like putting a letter on the window of Clarissa's room, and she was like, "Hey Sam." Anybody remember that one? It should have been an AWS Clarissa TV series. Clarissa Explains It All. Was it that one? Yeah, that's it. Wow, that is really 90s or 80s. Look at it. It's so 80s. Oh, it hurts. My eyes. Well, how could we know, right? All right. So we build everything, and now we can deploy, and we should be deployed in a couple of minutes. While we are deploying, I want to actually show you something. I did work on another, so watching InstaFluff's, anybody who hasn't subscribed to InstaFluff yet, check him out. Oh, insta full. Exclamation mark. No, exclamation mark SO insta fluff. Is that how you write him? Yeah. He has like the fluffiest stream, the comfiest, most comfy stream on all of the Twitch. And in particular, it's about coding. And thanks to his like co-working atmosphere yesterday, I built a little Twitch game that we can check out while this is actually replacing. So we do create a new newsletter contact list. It is a contact list. So let's say yes. And while we're waiting for this, we can play a little game if you like. So this is from the overlay, but I haven't deployed this because there's still stuff to do. Up here in the left, maybe I can zoom in ever so slightly. I cannot zoom in. No, I cannot zoom in. Can I? Not really. So if you write it's first serve. In this case, first come first serve. So the first person who writes exclamation mark cannon inside of the screen should be able to control this cannon right here. And you might see this is like the what do you say? That's it's the pipe from Super Mario, which I drew. So exclamation mark cannon into the screen, into the chat, and now this is moving. And so your goal is to match or to hit this small target right here with the cannon shot, and it's changing the angle and the speed in different rates. So if you write exclamation mark cannon once more, it will actually start shooting. Try your best. It can be rough to hit. Sometimes it's also, but it hits surprisingly often. I gotta admit, it hits surprisingly often. I don't know why though. The exclamation mark cannon once more. You did it! First try, dude. Very nice. Very good. You did it. There's no like congratulations or something just yet, but you actually did it. Woo! Yeah, I want to do that some more. Hey, Radibi, good to see you again. Howdy. Yeah, it's your turn now. Exclamation mark cannon again, and then you're actually shooting. It also finished deploying. It's only one person, so Hector, you can go once Radibi has actually done his shot, and it has reset the. Oh no! Hey, you did it too! Seriously? This game is. It's fake. It's rigged. It's actually not. How did you do that? 2 in a row. Seriously? I think Hector, you can go now. But you're right. I have to handle the that it's actually you cannot do the same message twice. Yeah. So I probably need to look for something like at least it starts with, or I have to do another command or something. Maybe a better idea is probably, it would be nice if you have just like multiple cannons for every person, and you just get or maybe a cannon just appears on screen, and the first person to write exclamation mark fire or exclamation mark cannon into the chat. I think fire is already taken. Is going to fire it. Yeah, you have to exclamation mark cannon again in this case. If Twitch allows you to do so. Let's go where it lands. Let's see where it lands. Well, what do you think about it? It's something that I haven't seen in a while. It's like inspired. Has anybody of you played the Yeti games? Twitch doesn't allow you to send exclamation mark cannon, it seems. Once more exclamation mark cannon, Hector. Anybody played Yeti games back in the day? It was like mini games. You had like a Yeti, who had like a big fat club, and he was playing with his penguin friends, and he was throwing them, and it was basically the Olympics, but with a Yeti and penguins. Instead of a discus, you had like he was throwing penguins, and he hit them like a batter, and the farther you go, the better your shot was. One more exclamation mark cannon, Hector, if that's possible. If not, we definitely have to change the playing Twitch game where delay matters. It's also part of the fun, right? It's also part of the fun. Yeah. Yeah, that's why what would be an alternative to going there? Yeah. Our T-Wars game is actually, it's turn-based. So there you have like 15 seconds of time each time, or 25 seconds, I don't remember exactly, to input your action, which should be enough, right? Like up, down, power down. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we could like have a cannon that is controlled by Twitch chat, and you can actually determine the angle with exclamation mark up and downs. That's a good idea. I like that. Take that. I take that as a. I will actually shoot for you, Hector, if you don't write exclamation mark. Fire one more, but I'll take that as nice input. Thank you, Ricky. Very nice idea. And then it's just anybody can put in, and at some point somebody says exclamation mark fire or shoot, and then it's shooting. Let me put that inside of here. Which exclamation mark up for controls of cannon. I like that idea. I like it a lot. Very nice. Thank you so much. All right. Maybe I just. Oh, I cannot click. Damn it. All right. Let's continue on. I think we finished our deployment. Sorry, Hector. At the very least, I have to. Even if I take the current game, I have to switch cannon. Cannot use command multiple times in a row. And actually, I don't want to put this in this Trello, but I want to put it inside of here. And where's the other one? Oops. Very nice. Thank you for the ideas. I love this kind of idea. Finding ideas with a team is so much easier. Like coming up with ideas as a single person is so much more inefficient. Oh no, it didn't work. Meh. What happened? Resource handler returned message. A maximum of 1 list allowed per account. Seriously? Huh. Okay. That's very, very, very restrictive. I gotta say. Sorry, I didn't want to go to account. I wanted to go to service quotas here. So if you click on your name inside of the AWS console, you can see service quotas right there. There you have a dashboard, and somewhere we should be able to see. Or maybe we don't. Maybe they have services. SES. Haha. They forgot a space there. Bug found. Now they have to take me. I fixed the space inside of AWS. They have to hire me. Sending radar. Applied quota value 1. Is that the sending radar? The maximum number of emails that AWS SES can accept each second for this account in the current region. Interesting. That's also only one. That's not much. That's not much. And the maximum number of emails that you can send in a 24-hour period for this account in the current region is 200, which depending, you can adjust it. So that's the important part. You can just send them a request using this command, and maybe you can say why you actually want to request it. But then that should be fairly easy to do, I think. All right. Interestingly, they do not show you the contact list limit. So that's apparently not something that you can change, or you actually have to talk to them, likely. Good to know, good to know. I don't think it's the sending quota. Yeah, judging from this description here, it says number of emails that SES can accept each second for the account. That's something different. That seems to be something different. Let's check your link. So I think we have to delete the other email list then, which is kind of a bummer because we cannot. It's very restrictive because we cannot use the parallel change pattern to migrate. Then that's annoying. Limit. There's a sending limit right there. Sending quota, errors. Maximum number allowed in the 24 of emails that you can send in the 24-hour. Sending rate. Maximum number of emails that Amazon SES can accept from your account each second. You can exceed it for short bursts, but not for sustained periods of time. So, okay, very good, very good. Otherwise, we will get into trouble as soon as we have more than 50 email subscribers. Maximum message size, we will never reach that. In particular, because we do not have attachments. This is actually fairly important. Many of the email recipients cannot take in more than 5 MB. I remember it's been a while, but I've been a customer of Yahoo Mail. I don't think they do service anymore. It still exists, okay? It still exists. But there I was not able to receive anything that has more than 5 MB. I guess you can only have one contact list but separate them using the topic feature. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, good point, good point. Yeah, that is a good point. Do we see the contact list inside of here? No, we do not. Okay. Well. Interesting. We do have this limit, apparently. So, we can unfortunately not change the name then. Is there a way to import resource into AWS SES? Because there are ways to do that with the help of Terraform and also with Pulumi. So Terraform provides you with a way to. So if you already have something under in your cloud, you can put it under Terraform control with the help of Terraform imports. And there's a similar command for Pulumi. Not that I've used any of those, but it's out there. And knowing is half the battle. Is I think the phrase that C# Fritz is using. Now we know, and knowing is half the battle. Is I think what he has. And what I wanted to see is whether we can import something into SES. We can definitely bring something bring existing controls, existing resources into CloudFormation management, which is very, very close. Because remember, SES is just a way to basically manage CloudFormation better, because CloudFormation is like, there's just too much stuff. One of the things, for example, that we benefit greatly from inside of SAM, I think that you cannot use inside of CloudFormation is, for example, this schedule. We define events and we just say it's a type schedule, and this creates actually something inside of EventBridge, which is a completely different service. I will switch on the lights in a minute. That I don't think you can do with the help of CloudFormation. You would have to write a separate CloudFormation thing, and you also would have to provide a target for that one and a role to actually access the step function and all of that fun stuff. I'll be back in just a minute. If you like, you can play a round of T-Wars. T-Wars! Gotta have the metal feeling there. Oh, that was wrong. Exclamation mark ambush. We are a group of adventurers who are traveling through the mines, and while we are traveling through these mines, a guardian Naga is attacking us. So exclamation mark join into the chat if you want to play. Otherwise, I will probably die from this Naga attacking me again and again. Up here you see the commands. Feel free to play for a minute. I'll be right back to you. Wow, I think that was a crit just now. 24 damage is the maximum I can make in terms of damage, I think. Where is my keyboard? Everything's still working? I hope. Protect. And Groxy. Thank you for joining, Groxy. Anybody else who still wants to join? We're still fighting the Naga. It still has a bit of HP left. If you join, you will actually get some XP. There's no... I'm not sure whether you can actually be terrible at this. You can also, by the way, write something like I take a quick step back and then sprint forward and exclamation mark attack the monster. As soon as you have exclamation mark attack or exclamation mark strike or exclamation mark, I don't know, a couple of them, you will still do the attack. So we can do a bit of roleplay here. Let's do a quick heal. Group heal. Group heal not working? Why not? Did it break? Did we break it? Did I write exclamation mark heal wrong? Am I dead already? No, now it's done. Okay. Maybe it was just a delay. Very long delay. It's a very long delay, in fact. Wow, how did it... Ah, never mind. Wow, it did a lot of damage to you, huh? One last exclamation mark strike. Oh, that was fairly quick. Wow, there was another one of those crits. I think I've never seen 2 crits in a row. You did it! Groxy, congratulations! to level 2. Hey Max69, welcome back. We just finished, unfortunately. We just finished. You want to do another one? We can do one more round. Exclamation mark, ambush. So we walk through our party of at least 3 people now. Walk through the hillsides in a deep mountain. It is snowing, a blizzard. We need you. We needed you a minute ago. Yeah, kind of. We have another chance. Exclamation mark, join. Ha! Max, you can now join. Ouch. So, if we actually start protecting everybody, we will only get half damage. So, I'll start protecting Max. Like so. You can actually also, by the way, do an exclamation mark heal with then space at the person, and it actually does more heal compared to a group heal. Oh, that was one. I think we need to have some more of those. Sweet, I exclamation mark attack with my sword. Very good, Groxy. Very good, very good. Glad to see the roleplay coming in. Yeah, like some fire. I take some. I form a snowball and throw some exclamation mark ice at the Skeletor. Why am I doing so much damage? Did I do a mistake? With my, I don't know. Maybe I changed my level? Something? I do way too much damage. Maybe I made a mistake at some point. So, why do we meet a skeleton inside of the mountains? There's probably some grave close by. Some grave. Oh, it's really doing some damage here, huh? There's some grave close by that we were just on the way to. If you still want to join, exclamation mark, join into the chat, and we did it! Explosions! Good job, everybody. Max reached level 2. Iced coffee. Nice. Yeah, it still has the exclamation mark ice animation, by the way. Thank you so much for playing. So I think Roxy, so it uses like exponential growth for the levels. So I think next time you will get another level once we play another round. Let's get back to this one. One thing that I need to do, I think, is remember to switch off the music, because I think we had the regular music, which I just have very on low volume in the background, so there it is not completely silent when I'm not talking. And I think we also had the game music, the in-game music, the battle theme, and the fanfare at the end. I think the fanfare we can actually play. So, if I remember correctly. Why do I not hear this? I should hear this. Monitor and output. Can you hear the fanfare? Ah, there it is. Okay. It was just too on a very low volume for me. Alright, let's get back into this one. We wanted to check out how we can put something under CloudFormation management. Actually, we want to put it under SAM management. Let's see how we can do that. So if you created an AWS resource outside of AWS CloudFormation management, you can bring this existing resource into AWS CloudFormation management. So under infrastructure as code management, using resource import. You can manage your resources using AWS CloudFormation regardless of where they were created without having to delete and recreate them as part of a stack. Can we go into slight detail, because this is very, very general. Is it like AWS resource import? No, that's not it. That's a bit general. Getting started. Creating a stack from existing, importing existing resources into a stack. I think that's what we need. Did they write anything important? Consideration during import. We probably don't need to read this, right? Who needs to write documentation? Anyway. Just kidding. We should read this. Or at least skim through it. During an import operation, CloudFormation performs the following validations. The resource to import exists. The properties and configuration values for each resource to import adhere to the resource type schema, which defines its accepted properties, required properties, and support property values. The required properties are specified in the template. Required properties for each resource type are listed in resource and property reference. So we probably need that one. Although I think we have it right. Like right here, pretty much. The name is wrong. And the resource doesn't belong to another stack in the same region, so that's important. Which it doesn't. We deployed it completely manually. Praise the tea also. Oh, praise the tea. Holy tea, take a sip from this holy liquid. That was you drinking tea. And you have to hold it like this, like the traditional Japanese style. That's very, very important when you're praising the tea. So CloudFormation doesn't check that the import configuration matches the actual configuration of resource properties. That's important. That's important. So after the import is complete and before performing subsequent stack operations, we recommend running drift detection on imported resources. Drift detection ensures that the template configuration matches the actual configuration. We actually had drift the other day. Our role had more permissions than it was actually specified to have. Let's get started. Did I already open this? I think I did. Importing existing resources into a stack. So let me share this with you as well. Has anybody of you tried this? So during this import operation, you need to provide the following: a template that describes the entire stack, including both the resources that are already part of the stack and the resources to import. So I think we have to change this up ever so slightly. Excuse me, getting the hiccups. You need to be called email newsletter. Topic name needs to be called this. We need to call you, my friend, like this. We need to call this dude like that, and we need to use opt out right there. And apparently we have another description up here, which is called this. All right, so this avoids basically that we have drift, I think. So from now, from here, each resource to import must have a deletion policy attribute in the template. That's it. The unique identifier for each target resource with the appropriate service console to obtain unique identifiers. In this walkthrough, we provide the following example template called template to import.json. This template is currently part of the stack, and games table is the target of the import. Games table is the target of the import. Let's check CloudFormation. Do we have this open at somewhere? Maybe anywhere? No, not at all. Service quota. So CloudFormation. maybe these get a deletion policy automatically. Templates. Deletion policy? No? None? View the processed one. Aha. So this is actually what is actually being deployed. Deletion policy. We do not have a deletion policy, apparently. So with the deletion policy attribute, you can preserve and in some cases back up a resource when its stack is being deleted. In our case, I think, where do we set the deletion policy? Is it inside of properties or is it inside of the basic, the type? Resource, my S3 on the level of type. Okay. That's important. Let's, come on. There we go. Deletion policy. Okay. And in this case, I want to have, what are the values of this? Options. I don't want to use retain. What I want is delete. Retain. Values. Delete. Okay, it's just called delete. Delete. Like so. Next. So. Other than that, this looks good. So importing an existing resource into a stack using the AWS management console. We probably don't want to do that. We want to use the CLI. Thank you. AWS confirmation, get template summary, template URL. What if we just SAM deploy this one? I wonder what happens. Let's check. I mean, there's nothing we can lose, right? It's already there, so might as well give it a try. Maybe it's already doing the thing, so that would be amazing. But to be honest, I doubt it. Deploy. We will probably get something like it is already deployed. Or we get another of those. We can only have like one contact list. So it says add. But I doubt it will do it. AWS CloudFormation get template summary. Yeah. Resource maximum of one list is allowed per account. Okay, so that didn't work. Maybe we do it using the other one after all. This is our template. When does it actually transform this into something that we can transform with, that we can deploy with CloudFormation? It might be that we can also already deploy all of this manually. But I actually don't know exactly. Maybe we try it using the manual steps. So import an existing resource into a stack using AWS Management Console. Sign in. Done. On the stacks page, choose a stack you want to import. Done. choose stack actions, and then we choose import resources. Review the import overview page and then choose next. So let's read what it's saying here. During an import overview. During an import operation, you can create a change set to import an existing resource. Maybe zoom in a bit so you can read too. Into a new or existing stack. Once the import is complete, you can manage the resources through the stack. That's what we want. What you'll need. You need a template. Doing this import, you need to provide a template that provides the entire stack, including the target resource. If existing stack resources are modified in the prepared template, the import fails. And identifier values. During the import, you need to identify the resource to import, for example, as S3 bucket name. The wizard will guide you through the process. Okay, let's try template source. It is, I mean, it's already deployed. Why do we need to? Okay, so apparently we need to go here. I think we take this dude. Actually, we might be able to do the following. SAM build. So there's a very, very simple option that we could do, but it's not as we won't learn anything, which is just deleting the contact list and then creating a new one. That would be an option. But suppose you have a database that is already running and it is already in production and you already have data inside of there, or you have a contact list that is already has already a lot of data inside of it, then deleting it might not be the best option. It would be nicer if we can like just put it under control without actually changing the data inside of it. Because in particular, we would cause an outage by deleting it first. So there is at least some value in trying to do this kind of manually. So inside of our template, we see you here. And then I should be able to just say upload a template file, choose a file, okay, I cannot move the open file without actually moving the complete thing. What you've seen was, I think, my washing detergent. Where is it? The big question. Blog version 3, readme SAM. Show the hidden files. So AWS SAM build template. Go. That didn't work. Template doesn't include any resources to import. Why not? It does. Newsletter contacts list. Did we forget the identifier? Type retain. Attribute definitions. This one also doesn't have an identifier. I guess we do it the deletion way, huh? Because this definitely has the contact list. Resources to import must have a deletion policy attribute specified in the template. Or we tell this one to be retain Was it retain? Is that the right value? Yeah, I think it is. So let's build this once more. Build. And we upload once more. I think that's it. Did that work? No. Unfortunately not. That's a bummer. Okay, it doesn't work. And I don't see an obvious workaround. Yeah. I mean, one thing that we could try is we take this pel here. We take all of this. Oh, maybe you see now why I say you don't want to actually write any CloudFormation code. As you can see, this is not small, not at all. And it's generated from 162 lines of code into 500. Of course, half of it is actually being parentheses and curlies. Okay, so somewhere in here I think we need we probably already have like an SES list context policy, SES template. Where do we have the template? No, this one. No, that's also not it. No, resources. There's one of our templates. So what I want to do is I want to copy this friend here, or maybe the welcome one. Here's, by the way, the way SAM identifies, or the linking between our CloudFormation resource and the linking inside of SAM. So if we change the name, this one actually goes away. If we change the name inside of SAM, this might actually be redeployed because it does not have this matching meta property anymore. So what we want to do is we take our newsletter contact list, we take these two, and we have to provide the same SAM resource ID. Then we say this is a type SES contact list, and we give it some properties. Properties being a contact list, and that's a string, comma. I actually just want to remove all of the other fun stuff. And now I think we copy these two over first. So turn you into a JSON, turn you into a JSON, turn you into a JSON, and turn you into a JSON, comma, remove this dude, that dude. Now we have topics, which should be something like this. Topics, an array of one object which has all of these properties. So is it clear what I'm actually doing currently? If not, please tell me. So turning this into a string, turning this into a string, you into a string, proper value, proper value, proper value, proper value, without a comma right there. Otherwise it's not valid JSON. And I see we do not have any error right now. Do we need anything else? This might be enough. Take it. We have to save it. Save as import contact list dot cloud formation. Formation. I think it's CFN typically. Dot JSON. So let's go back to our specify template, the import wizard. So we go choose file. We go to SAM, and here I have import contact list cloudformation.json. And this one does not error, which is good. Next. It detected that this is the one that we want to import. Very good, very good. We're getting there. I think we're getting there. So the identifier is going to be the contact list name, and that is email newsletter at this point. So the following IDs, logical IDs, are new to your template. Provide the identifier values for the resources you are importing. And it is a SES contact list. This is the name that we've given it. And the identifier value is the contact list name. And we provide as value email newsletter, which I've copied from over here. From actually here. All right. Building a MailChimp clone, indeed. We are pretty much done in terms of the previous videos are absolutely available. Well, we are not 100% ready. We did like it's only for one person. Be aware of that. So it's not like a complete service SAS. What does it stand for again? Anyway, we only build it like for one person. We have a blog. We post blog articles on it from time to time. And whenever there is a new blog post, we regularly check whether there is a new blog post in terms of the RSS feed. And that if there is a new blog article, we send email reminders. Hey, check out this new blog article to all of our friends. I still have to make it into a proper list, I think, on Twitch, into a collection. And I also think I have like the last 3 videos, the last 4 videos might still be only in preview, but I have everything on Twitch available. If we go to TypeScript teatime twitch.tv/TypeScript teatime, we should see. Hello, me. Hello, me. It's me again. Should I not see like the... because I'm not logged in, I guess. Or because I'm online. If you go to the collections, if you go to the VODs, it should be there. Yes, yeah. Maybe at some point. I don't know just yet. Currently, I'm fairly happy with that. I'm actually streaming much more than I've used to. I actually have to change my schedule at some point in like 2 weeks because I'm moving 8 time zones for 3 months. And then things will be slightly different. Yeah, the first parts that we have. So what we have is like a subscribe endpoint. YouTube is unbearable. If you're on mobile, it's unbearable. If you're on desktop, AdBlock Plus will take care of it. Not that I'm using an AdBlock, not at all. I think I even have AdBlock installed here in the TypeScript teatime Chrome window. So what we have is a subscribe endpoint, which from your blog, you have a form, and you post to our API gateway, which is completely, so everything is built on AWS in terms of the backend. it then triggers a Lambda function, and then we're pretty much using, it triggers a step function state machine, which is a way to orchestrate or run workflows across multiple services on AWS. And then we're using a service called Simple Email Service that is handling all of our create contact logic, and then we send them a welcome email. We still have to add some more stuff to this now that you remind me of where we actually stand, because create contact actually fails when you subscribe with the same email twice. So we should probably add something that checks whether the email already exists, and if so, do nothing. You are already a subscriber. Thank you for subscribing. Trying to subscribe again, but there's no need to do that. So, and in the other case, we actually do create something. Unsubscribe, also similar. We actually use the simple email service again, delete contact in that case, and it's also failing if you try to delete something that it does not exist in this case. So we need to do something right there. And the fun part is should we send a newsletter, and if so, send it. That one is actually pretty cool. We have it right here. Completely as a step function. We go in, we check whether there is a new blog post in the last 24 hours. We use step functions, which is a way, as I said, to have this like visually. We can just put in, like with the help of drag and drop, new API calls, and then configure which kind of Lambda function, for example, I want to call. And how we pass data across these different states. So each one of these like nodes is a state. Each state corresponding to something is being done. It could be a Lambda function, it could be an API call, for example, to a simple email service, as we do here. Maybe let me zoom in a bit. It could be another Lambda function, it could be something which you do for each array element inside of your output from the previous state, and then you do something. In our case, we have like chunks of 50 contacts each, 50 emails, and then we send them emails in bulk. You can only send 50 emails at the same time, unfortunately. And it also handles stuff like concurrency, as you can see here. We can just set maximum currency should be 1, because earlier we noticed that we can only have one call at the same time, although we can burst it per second to AWS SES. So this might actually be fairly important to do. For now, I will just ignore it. But that's what we've built. This last part is completely managed using AWS SAM, which is a way to have infrastructure as code. What we are currently doing is to put our other resources under SAM control. And for that we are, for the first time, we are importing something into CloudFormation and from there into SAM and back. That's where we are. Have you worked with anything on AWS SimpleSphere? Did I ask before? I might have asked before. Did I? I might have. If so, please remind me. No, it failed. The import operation fails. Oh no, it does fail. It's not red. We didn't fail yet. Unfortunately, no. That's why I'm learning. Ah, very good. For the first steps, I can absolutely recommend this one, this course. It's basically also preparing you for the certification, but it's just the basics of the basics. Don't skip it. There is a lot of AWS out there, and just having the basics at least seen once, and having heard like, what is CloudFormation? What is, I don't know. What is EC2? It helps. It helps. So yeah, If you come from some other, something like Azure or from GCP, it will be a lot easier for you because you already know how to use IAM basically, the infrastructure, identity and access management. So the import operation fails. This is only a notification or an information. If you modify existing parameters that trigger a create, update, or delete operation. We do not. We try to do everything just as is deployed. So let's go next. Specify the template. Yeah, we did that. Oh, we just see a summary apparently. Yeah, this is the new one that we want to import. The contact list email newsletter. Changes. There was an error creating this change set. The following users to import must have deletion policy specified in the template. Oh, did we forget that? Jesus. I think we provided right here deletion policy. Delete. Save. Normally, you wouldn't write anything in terms of the basic CloudFormation stuff. Yeah, see you in a bit. See you in a minute. But for this import, we actually have to do so. Let's do this again. Can I upload you once more? Did it change anything? Apparently we have to do this again. That's the topic name. I want to take the contact list name. Go ahead. Yeah. Come on. Come on, come on. Do the loadings thing. Oh, it's green! Look at it! Green is such a nice color, don't you think? Green is such a nice color. It signals everything is fine. We have our friend Midori here. The green cat is Midori. Midori being the Japanese word for green. And the other two are Ao, the blue one, and Aka. I think we called her Pink. Pink in Japanese. So Pinku. When I speak English most of the time here on stream, I get the English accent in Japanese. It's weird. Midori and Ao. Import in progress. Please work. Please work. Please work. Fingers crossed. Thumbs pressed. The Polish German version. I think it auto updates, does it? It worked! Can you believe it? We did our first import into CloudFormation. And actually, we didn't even know how to do it for SAM, and I think we have it now for SAM as well. If we go SAM build once more. And then do we have something like SAM diff? No. SAM minus help. It would be nice to actually see it up front. SAM log, SAM sync. SAM sync. Sync a project to AWS. SAM sync. What does it do exactly? Deploy your local changes to the AWS cloud. Use sync to build, package, and deploy changes to your development environment as you iterate on your application. Oh, it's about development environment. I think we want deploy. Let's just deploy. Will it work? Please work. Please say there is nothing to do. It does do nothing, but we can still deploy it. Yes, please deploy the nothingness. Update complete, the contact list. It might now have like synced in the newsletter contact list. So if we go AWS SESV2 list contact lists, the list is still there. Very good. Shouldn't it have like topics? Get contact list, and maybe we can get the contact. So the contacts are still there. Very good, very good, very good. It seems to have worked. What else do we need to check here? This is great. This is really, really great that it just, we did manage to do it. I was like this far away from actually saying, oh, it won't work. But then we finally found this, or we were able to get it running by not looking at the template, but looking at the process template, which becomes a JSON inside of CloudFormation. So that's pretty good. That's pretty cool. So if we now go ahead and we say something like, oh, the deletion policy should be delete here. Oh no, what have we done? Oh no, what happened? Let's go to the template once more. Look at the prompt, the created one. And inside of here, we should have retain policy. Oh, it now says retain. Did it sync it from local? AWS SAM build once more. I want to actually have it to deploy, to delete. And SAM deploy. If this works, that means we have it under control of SAM now. So that's like the litmus test here. Please work. Please work. I think we did well. It does not show any changes. That's interesting. If it changes the retain deletion policy, apparently it does not show any changes, which is weird. I think it worked. So if we refresh you, my friend, I think we need to refresh the complete page maybe. Inside of the template here, we see now deletion policy is delete. We have it under control. We did it. Good job. We've learned how to put something under SAM control, an existing resource in your AWS cloud. What we did, and we want to put it under SAM control, serverless application model. Then we basically write everything out inside of SAM. We build. Then we go inside of the stack that is being deployed inside of CloudFormation, the existing one. So we probably should make sure that everything is actually deployed before we change anything in here. And then we add the new one. We go inside of the stack, inside of CloudFormation. We go to template, and we look at the process one. That was the trick that we've got. We copied all of this. There we go. We added it to we added it locally, created a file for it, and here we defined our new resource in a very, very specific way. And we will do it again, I think. So what we did is we copied one existing, we changed its name to this thing that we have here inside of the inside of SAM. The same name must be there. We put the same name. We put the same type. So I would just do it once more here to recap what we actually did. We have to change all the policies. We have to, and that's one important part, we have to set a deletion policy, otherwise it won't work. At least it will warn us. It can be something like retain which means even if the stack gets deleted, this resource will stay. We can say something like delete, which means when the stack is being removed, also the resource will be removed. Probably you might not want your database data to be deleted. So on your database, you might set a deletion policy of retain instead of to even if the stack goes down, that database stays and is not accidentally being deleted. So this is important. We followed otherwise this guide here, importing existing resources. What was very, very important is that it actually has this deletion policy inside of there. And then we copied pretty much everything from the existing one that we have over to our new one. So all of this can go away because it's not part of the resource. We have to write it back into JSON. So that's a bit of change, and in particular when you're working with objects, and be aware of the type inside of YAML. If this one is an array, so topics is an array, and all of this is the object inside of the array. So we have to write all of those back. So, and let's just do it. We also have to write proper JSON. That's very important. So this one needs to be an array. I almost made a mistake there. Then we copy the topic name. We copied the newsletter name. I think we can copy just all of these two and do something like this, and like Control E. That didn't work. Control E is one thing that I've learned recently. Thanks to finite singularity stream. You can just, inside of VS Code, you can just jump to the end of the line, Control E, at least on the Linux systems. And with this, we also, one important part, because we want to put it under SAM control too, inside of this meta down here, we have to put the SAM resource ID, which is the one that we have here at the very, very top. The like leftmost thing. All of this is inside of the resources object currently. So this one needs to be the same name as this one. And you probably also want to name the object itself the same. And if you have this, now you can, well, save it and then go into CloudFormation. And, well, basically what we did was follow this guide here, which I've shared with you just a minute ago. We signed in, we went to the stack, we already copied the JSON, so that's fine. We go to stack actions up here, and we go to import resources, and it opens this kind of wizard. And we go through it, we upload the JSON that we had down below, this one. We go to next, and then in this case we did not change anything, so it recognizes that and it says, oh, there's nothing new. Otherwise, the previous one, we actually finished with this step, and we were able to, it noticed, oh, there is a new resource, and this resource is an AWS SES contact list. Please provide the identifier. And this might be, depending on the resource that you're providing, some form of unique identifier. In our case, it was just the list name. In other cases, I think it might be the ARN that you have to provide, the Amazon resource name, like a GUID, the global unique ID, inside of AWS. That's an ARN. Definitely need to read up on CloudFormation. CloudFormation is good. I would not typically use it directly like we did just now, kind of. I would also always use something like SAM, which makes it much simpler. Or there's also third-party things Sam. Sam AWS. Which is a way to build serverless applications. Writing only code and having a CLI, like a command line interface, which is called SAM, and with which you can like validate, build, and do other stuff. In particular, it helps you with actually getting your stuff into the cloud. If you have code locally for functions as a service, like Lambda functions in AWS, that's what it's called, then you somehow have to upload a zip file to Lambda. And I don't think that's fun if you use CloudFormation, to be honest. SAM helps you with that very much. And we did set up a completely new SAM package project like 3 days ago. Monday, I think it was on Monday, yeah. Yep. And it was super simple. And we can now write JavaScript code. TypeScript code in this case. And we could also take JavaScript code if we wanted to, or Python, whichever you use for your functions as a service. There are other things like serverless framework, which I actually started with originally. I'm not sure whether SAM was actually a thing. It is very similar to SAM, but it doesn't limit you as much to AWS. Although I gotta admit, it's still optimized for AWS. It is not developed by AWS. I'm not sure whether SAM is actually directly by AWS or whether it's just very close to AWS. And that helps you writing both of these tools help you write CloudFormation tools, in particular for serverless applications. But you can pretty much just take it for everything. You could also provision an EC2 instance with it if you want to, but then you basically write CloudFormation code. Well, yeah. Cool. Very nice. So, what's next? What's next? We have another step function that we need to get under control, I think. We have a step function. Well, let's look at the article that we wrote. So we have this contact list under our control, which means we also have the contacts in itself under control, I think. Create a contact, list the contacts. Well, the contacts are on the data plane, so we don't need to control them. Yeah, we implicitly control them using the control plane. We manage the contact list, so we don't manage the contacts in itself. Deleting contacts, blah 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 blah. Okay, so that one's done. Build the subscribe to newsletter workflow. AWS roles. I think we will redeploy. In this case, this should be much easier. We can just create a new step function state machine to basically that duplicates all of our stuff. And in this case, we use SAM to create the roles and handle all of the permissions. I think that makes things much easier. In this article that I'm preparing, I pretty much printed out every single line you first need to create a policy, and then you create a row, and then you attach the policy to the role. Then you create the step function, and you attach the role to the step function. Then you create this one, and we don't need any of that. I think it will be much easier with SAM. Man, that makes this article super redundant. It's kind of sad. But yeah, that's just the way it is, baby. It's just the way it is, baby. Let's take this thing right here, which is our serverless function. We go over to here, and now I will actually do something like state machines, and inside of there I create a new file called .asl.json, and we call it, let's start with subscribe, I guess, huh? Good communication is a skill in itself, especially when you revisit code months later. Absolutely. Hey, you wouldn't believe how many things I like second guessed myself on when I was doing this on screen. We did it like for the first time together, and then I wrote everything down. I was like, oh, so we could have done this, and this makes it much simpler. So this is already like the this code that I've written here is already like the third version, the third iteration of everything, and it's still so much stuff. Well, yeah, it was still worth the learning, I suppose. So what do we have here? We have a workflow, and this workflow is actually visible already. It's already deployed. We just deploy it again with a different name, slightly different. It is exactly this workflow here. No, it is not. It is exactly this workflow, I think. Yeah, that's I think what it is. So in here, what we see, let me close this and close that, and then we have a bit more of breathing space here, so you can see something. This step function workflow, or state machine is the actual proper name. It comes in, it does a very, very simple validation. This is actually stupid, to be honest. This validation, because this one, the whole step function sits behind API gateway. We can do validation on API gateway, and that's actually the much better way to do it. But well, for the purpose of what we did here, let's just roll with it. If we have an email present, and this email is a string, and we also have a privacy policy accepted property, and it is also a string, like an ISO date string, then we invoke an API call on SES, on Simple Email Service, which is called create contact. And what we pass in is this contact list name. We pass in the email which we get from the user, from the HTTP request, which gets passed into this step function. What else do we have here? We pass in some attributes data, which is like user-specific data, which you can have on SES. Problem being, there's no way to actually bulk get the attribute data, which makes it kind of meh. You have to like get the attribute data for each individual contact, so that's not really useful. We can at least save something that is very, very rarely read, like privacy policy accepted at, which we would otherwise need to save in a database additionally. And oftentimes you have like, this is actually necessary to show people something like, oh, we have updated the terms and conditions of the privacy policy. You need to recheck it, and you have to then again say, yeah, I accept again. Otherwise, we are not allowed to send you anything, for example. So this sometimes this kind of data becomes very, very important, and it's nice that we have some way at least to date it, to save it, without having a database. Then we do some transformation, and all that we actually want is, there's probably a better way to do this by now. But for now, we just have this transformation, which you cannot see. Let me do it like this. Come on. Come on. Yeah, come on. We don't want to. What we do here is we want to have this property called template data. And inside of there, we have the email at this point. You could put pretty much anything inside of here so that we have like, hi, Peter, inside of the email. And we are using this inside of here, which can take this $, so input.template data, which comes from up here, which gets passed into this function, and then we can use it, stringify it, and put it inside of the template data. And other than that, we see the welcome email here, which we recreated, I think. And we also put the email inside of an array because that's required. Well, that's the, and then we can send the welcome email. That's the important part, actually, on a business level. We save the contact, we send the welcome email. Done. All right. You can have cheeseburger in an hour, I think. I still have enough tea, but I need to drink some more tea. So what I want to do now is just recreate. What do you think? Should we? No, we have to recreate it. Never mind. Never mind. We don't have to recreate. Should we do the import thing again to practice? Or should we just recreate it? Oh no, we have to recreate it. Otherwise I have to import each single role, each single policy, all of that manually. And I don't want to do that. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. That's no fun. So we copy the ASL. ASL being this language here, Amazon state language is what ASL stands for. Now we go to the template. We copy our existing step function, because why would we want to write another one? If we can just copy and paste stuff. So, and now we can call this one subscribe. SFN stands for step function. I should call it state machine, but well, here we go. Then I want to have the subscribe ASL JSON. So this one pulls in whatever is inside of this file, but now I have to provide actually the prefix. I call it state machines / subscribe ASL JSON. Yeah, that's right. Then we will get into these substitutions in a minute. We can define some events. That is, we can define how it is actually being triggered. This previous one was called on a schedule. And we just say this is a cron job that we want to run it on, and it provisions everything for us inside of event bridge, in this case, event bridge service. What we want, however, is instead API here, I think. And we can see this. Well, let's skip this for a second. This is like to do. Let's skip this for a second. What's the name of our friend here? Let's just take subscribe, I guess. Then we have some policies. So these are the permissions. We do not call any form of Lambda functions, so we can just remove all of these. These ones we have to write ourselves. So there is nothing, for example, Lambda, we can just say, this is a special construct inside of SAM, Lambda invoke policy, where you just provide the the ARN essentially. So the name of your Lambda function, the identifier. And then it sets up the policy for you. There is unfortunately nothing like that. Well, there is something like that for SES as well, but it has too many permissions, in fact. And we want to have as little permissions as possible, because minimizing the permissions for this role also means that it cannot do anything bad. My shoes are gone. Sorry. Minimizing the permission also means that if a hacker gets access to this, to the step functions, to the step function somehow, and it can maybe change the workflow, it cannot do anything bad with it, except within the scopes of permissions that we have given to it. If our hacker gets access to our identity and access management, man, we have a problem. Man, we have a problem. Hopefully, in that case, you have not used, or the hacker did not get access to your root account inside of AWS. Because the root account is basically something that you use once to set up your account. You create an AWS, an IAM role, an IAM user, and you're actually just going to use this IAM user from then on, and nothing else. Never touch the root account ever again, except maybe for billing stuff. But even there, it's better to set somebody else up. All right. So what do we need here? We need policies. I think we have the policies set up. I just need to find them inside of here somewhere. Here we have our step function newsletter subscribe policy. Let's go there. It does not exist. Great. Because I'm not in the root directory. It cannot find this file : colon double backslash. It looks at it. It looks for the file inside of this root directory, and it's not inside of there. But we can do step function sub policy. So what we need is we need send templated email. We need create account, and we also give it X-ray permissions. Actually, don't need to do that. Do we? No. Let's not do that. And these dudes I will copy over to here. Now we rewrite them with the help of Sam. So we can say SES. So we want to allow this action. This action being SES send templated email, which is one of the API endpoints. Is this version 1 or is it version 2? I think it's using version 1. We probably want to refactor this into version 2 at some point. But let's not do it now. For now, let's just get everything under control. And then this resource is this one. Which we already had, interestingly. Wait. Up here. Never mind. We want this resource, which is newsletter welcome. And I think we can this pointed to welcome, which is our created template. And there is a better way to do this, but I don't know exactly how. So we're just hard coding it like this at this point. And then we need another resource from up there, which is this identity. Like so. And we only want to allow those inside of US East 1. There's a colon too much. And that should be the upper one. So we want to allow sending templated emails for our step function, subscribe step functions. This is going to be the SES send templated send welcome email is what I'm going to call it. And it can use our identity, which is a way to these identities, SES identities, are basically your domains from which you can send stuff. And we also want to have the template, and we already recreated the newsletter template using this new name welcome. I think we did it yesterday, so we're good on that front, and we can just replace it with a new one. So that's that one done. And then we'll just remove everything. We move you to the top like so. Apparently one more. Okay, good. And then we duplicate you. We call you SES create contact. The API operation that we want to allow is SES create contact. And then for the resource, we take our email list, which we have created down below now. We have under control since 20 minutes or something. Again, there's a better way so we don't have to hard code this, but for now I think this will suffice. Unfortunately, some of these do not expose their ARN properties, the contact list name and the description, unfortunately only, and the tags and the topics, return value. We have a ref. When you pass the logical ID of this resource to the intrinsic ref function, ref returns the resource name, for example, this. Here we go. For the Amazon SES contact list, ref returns the name of the contact list. So we do get this name, but we do not get the complete ARN. We have to kind of manually put it together. We could do that with the help of it's called CloudFormation intrinsic functions, YAML. But it's not fun. I'm telling you, it is not fun. We could like make a join, which is basically the same as joining strings inside of JavaScript. But it's no fun. It looks terrible. If we can, maybe we can look at an example. When you go to join once more, do they have an example inside of there? Yeah, like this. So it would be something like, I don't know. It would be something like resource is actually going to be colon exclamation mark join. We want to join by colon. We want to have ARN. We want to have SES. We want to have US East 1. And actually we probably want to have something like exclamation mark parameter or parameters dot or exclamation mark ref region or something. And then we take exclamation mark ref account and exclamation mark, oh no, this one that then will be contact list slash, and now we need to use another one, and it just sucks. Why am I working in US East 1? US East 1 has the best support. It has the most features, I think. So this is no fun, if you see what I mean. And as soon as I save, actually, if this is properly formatted. It is apparently not. Come on. Hi. Yeah, it will actually format it in a very, very messed up way, and it's completely unreadable. So in that case, I actually prefer the just hard-coded way. Now, so why am I working in US East 1? Once upon a time, we've worked with Route 59, Route 61, AWS, Route 53. Area 51, Route 53. Route 66 is also another thing, right? This is a DNS service, and we tried to set up a domain, and I did it in in East region. The unfortunate part being that if you want to have HTTPS set up, you somehow have to fiddle around terribly if you are not. Well, I think we had a DNS record where we wanted to use the DNS, AWS DNS alias, which is a feature of some some DNS providers, in particular those bigger ones. They integrate directly with like your Lambda functions and whatnot, and we wanted to use that, but to get it on HTTP running on HTTPS, you had to have your domain running in US East 1. And finding out this was totally messed up. In the end, I just scrapped it, and I didn't set it up eventually. I think I also lost the email, the domain a couple of months ago. And yeah, that was totally messed up. Do we have something like here? When you use an alias record to route traffic to an AWS resource, so typically you can route, but you cannot route on, I think, a zone apex being just the naked domain. So if you have something like hello.com, you cannot redirect that directly to a service. It is way easier to just have it in US East 1 than in any other. Maybe they've changed it by now, but there's definitely something out there. Maybe it was getting certificates, HTTPS certificates or something. I forgot what exactly it was. I think it was Amazon Certificate Manager, I think, ACM, US East 1. Something with that. Here we go. Yeah, we wanted to set it up together with CloudFront. Requirements for using SSL TSS certificates with CloudFront. So the requirements for SSL TLS certificates, so as HTTPS, they both apply except as noted. Certificates for using HTTPS between viewers and CloudFront, and certificates for using HTTPS between CloudFront and your origin. And it was totally messed up here. To use an ACM certificate with CloudFront, make sure you request or import the certificate in the US East region, US East 1. Yeah, so CloudFormation needs to be in US East 1 in this case. Well, ACM needs to be in US East 1 or anything like that. And that was so messed up that at some point I just decided, so if you want to read more about it, you can find it somewhere here. Yeah, to use a certificate in AWS Certificate Manager to require HTTPS between viewers and CloudFront, make sure you request or import the certificate in the US East region. And yeah, this was so terrible of an experience that to spare myself the terror, I just went with, when I'm on stream, I'll just go to US East 1 and deploy everything there. It will probably cause the least amount of resistance. It does, of course, mean some things will be harder than what I'm doing on screen when you're actually doing it with your own region. In particular, this kind of CloudFront certificate setup. But most things, in particular, I think everything with step functions should just work as easily in US East, in EU West, for example, or EU Central, which would be Frankfurt in that case. Yeah, that's why. Does that make sense? In any way? So back to where we were. I explained why it's terrible to use these intrinsic functions inside of here. We could use them, and it would like reduce the amount of code duplication somewhat, but readability will be so limited that that I decided to just let's hard code it, whatever. It does. Okay, very good. Yeah, thanks for the question. It is an interesting one. It is an interesting one. And it's also one of the pitfalls, I think, with AWS. That if you have not chosen the right region, sometimes you will be like, oh, why is this not working? So I remember we were working with AWS CDK at that point, which is another way of managing your code, writing TypeScript in that case. It also supports some other stuff. But there we ran into this problem, which was just, no fun whatsoever. I think actually the web page is still running that we deployed back then. I think it's still running. Or maybe I nuked it. There's a tool called AWS Nuke. If you ever have a you did something with your with the UI and AWS deployed all of the stuff and you have no idea what it actually deployed and it incurs costs for you, then you can just completely destroy all of your account using AWS Nuke. Be aware that's dangerous too. It is very, very, very dangerous. I want two S3 buckets in two different regions and I can't remove them. In terms of buckets, you actually have to, I think, completely empty them before you can remove them. You have to make them empty, and then you have to empty them, and then you can remove them. You cannot remove any buckets that are that still have anything inside of there. And there's also there might be something with versioning. S3 cannot remove. Apparently you can also not delete an S3 bucket if there are more than 100,000 items, objects inside of there. I think it yeah. Or that there are also buckets that they are empty, I think. Oh, that's weird. If you have something like two-factor authentication enabled, that might also be something. Maybe it's because of versioning, that might also be something. Yeah, I don't know exactly how, I don't remember, let's say it like that. This was one of the questions definitely that they had like a lot inside of the AWS certifications second level. If you enable versioning on S3, then you can do this, and if you don't, and then you can do that. If you enable two-factor authentication, then you cannot have this feature, and no fun. Yeah, but that might be one thing. If you have versioning, I think you cannot permanently delete an object. That's one thing. AWS is complicated, yeah, it is. Azure makes a lot of things better, I gotta admit. Having worked with it only recently, ever so slightly. Most importantly, resource groups. Resource groups inside of Azure are... why do they not have this inside of AWS? I mean, there is a concept called resource groups inside of AWS, but it's something completely different. What resource groups do inside of Azure is just, well, they are containers for your resources, but every single resource needs to be inside of a resource group, except for resource groups itself, I think. And if you remove the resource group, everything inside of it will also be removed. And yeah, in particular, when you use the UI inside of AWS, you deploy something and all of a sudden it deploys 20 other things. At one point, we deployed something with AWS. Excuse me. AWS workstations or workspaces, which is desktop environments, persistent desktop environments inside of the cloud, inside of your browser, which is very, very nice. But if you deploy this, it also deploys all of a sudden a Amazon managed Active Directory. And all of the stuff that comes with it. Yeah, exactly, Active Directory. And all of the stuff that comes with it. And then, if you remove the workspace, it leaves the Active Directory for you. So you actually have to go back, manually also delete all of the Active Directory stuff. And this is so freaking annoying. It's $50 per month? Seriously? Maybe I should... I think I deleted it. I think I deleted it. Part of it is actually if you're on the free tier, I need to add this as a command here, seriously. let me do that so quickly. Stream elements. Login. Oh, did I do that already? Exclamation mark free. Oh. Too bad. We use this command so often, seriously. Or at least I use this web page. Workspaces are free for some time. Oh, did they remove it? They removed it, apparently. Okay, it's not free anymore. Huh. Probably during Corona, so many people started using it, I can imagine. And that's probably the time where they said, oh, no, it costs you. Just like Google recently. I'm setting in here on the other screen. I'm setting up the exclamation mark free. That should work. Oh, free correctly. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Yeah, you've tried it? How did you like workspaces? Once you tell me, then maybe I can give my experience, at least like 2 years ago. Where were we actually? What did we do? I think we wanted to create a new step function, right? Subscribe function. Yeah. We just called it subscribe now. We did set up... yeah, I remember. I explained why I write hardcode the resource, and we also explained why I'm in US East. And from there we can continue, I think, on. So this definition substitution is fun. So inside of our subscribe ASL, we might be using some specific values. For example, this contact list name, that we want to actually inject. We don't want to hard code it. And what we can do is we can write this essentially, or very, very similar to the JavaScript template literal strings, except that we don't have to actually use backticks, because otherwise it would not be proper JSON. And inside of here, we can now say something like contact list name, and or we could just give it any name. And inside of this definition substitution, we can now, this is an object, and inside of here we can say this is exclamation mark ref contact list name newsletter contact list, because this gives us actually the list name, and that's where I can use it. Workspace, it's good. You love it, easy setup. It's a bit pricey, but will save you a lot of time setting up workspace for your employees. Oh yeah. I tried it. Basically, a friend of mine had a very, very slow PC. Very slow. And we checked it out for him. 2 years ago, it was a bit slowish. It was very, very sluggish. Like it had a delay. You moved your mouse, and then like a second later, your mouse inside of the click and so on actually went over to the web. So you have different instances. Maybe the instances make a difference. My expectation was, because it's over the network, just that the network is so slow. Even though we deployed in Frankfurt, which is I think the closest in terms of anywhere in Germany. Maybe except if you're in Hamburg. Maybe London is closer. But then you're non-EU. So that's not an option if you actually have a company. So yeah, at that point as well, it was a bit sluggish. You need instance with minimal 2 GB of RAM and 1 CPU. Maybe, yeah, we stayed on the free tier, so I don't know what exactly it was able to do at that point. Probably 4 gigabytes. Yeah. So for him it was probably about coding. We wanted for him to have a proper coding machine for an okay-ish price. Like it was at that point $10, $15 per month, and compared to actually buying a computer for, and at that point we was that already in the, no, I think that was before we had like the rapid price increase due to the silicon stuff, which I actually completely didn't notice. Yeah. That was one thing. Yeah, he can use Cloud9. Yeah, at that point I didn't know about that. And GitHub Codespaces was not a thing at that point. You're absolutely right. Probably Cloud9 would have been the better option at that point. Cloud9 is also something that I want to check out, and also Codespaces. But Codespaces, it's kind of pricey. It is kind of pricey, and I'm already spending $120 for GitHub Copilot. 100, I think. So GitHub Co. No, when I checked it out, the pricing. Right, the pricing is based on usage, and I did not see through the pricing properly. So I was so disgusted by the pricing model, and not really being able to immediately tell, okay, I have at most like at most $10 or something. that I have to spend. Then I just said no, thank you. And even the calculations that I did do, they were kind of pricey. For me as a person who's like in his IDE 12 hours a day, probably, even on weekends, that's quite something. Code spaces pricing. It's still something that I want to check out at some point. But yeah, I also have a power machine locally. I have like 12 cores, I think, and 32 gigabytes of RAM, which means to actually actually get something that is better than my local machine, I would probably need to go to the 144 per hour. Yeah, here it's 0.18 per hour, which is not. It's not little if you think about it. You can have something if you just set up Ubuntu, particularly on the free tier with AWS. You can have for the first 12 months, you can have Ubuntu for free. Oh, there it is. And then you can just set it up as $4 a month. That's good. That's good. That's a nice price. I think I can pay that. And you can set up RDP with it. So you can RDP inside of your machine. It will sometimes crash. It's basically workspaces, but it will be for free instead. It will not be the best machine. I think they have limited it in terms of how many cores you have and how many CPU you have, but so it's a Linux RHEL or SLES T2 micro or T3 micro, depending on the region. Yeah. You can choose what kind of EC2 instance you want and pay only for EC2 instance. You get Cloud9 on it for free. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice feature. Is Cloud9 inside of the free tier as well? No, unfortunately not. Or at least it's not written like this. Do I have any filters on here? No, I don't. Okay, very good. So it's not inside of this list, unfortunately. Getting back. So we can use !ref to actually get the name of the contact list. And that's what I'm doing here. And I inject now the contact list name into this parameter right here, which is good. I don't need to hard code it here. Anything else? We probably want to have this one also replaced. Like that. Email source. Like so. Email source. And this one, this template, is indeed actually welcome email template is going to be welcome instead. Save. Go inside of there. Do this. And there we go. And that just injects everything from the outside. So we can concentrate mostly on configuring with the help of Sam instead of fiddling around with the ASL. The unfortunate part is, so the workflow that I'm using currently is I'm basically writing the step function with the visual editor, go to save, and then copy it from here. And the unfortunate part is when I make changes inside of here, I will again have all the values changed. So I would need to take over these weird template little strings. I'm not actually sure whether I'm allowed to do that. I am. Okay, so that would be an option to just take these over. And now look at the workflow studio. Yeah, that would work. Okay, never mind. I I didn't say anything. I think you asked me before, at least in terms of what I like. I like Mongo. I like Mongo a lot. In terms of what I've used professionally, I did use a lot of Mongo. I did use a lot of relational, like mostly Postgres. I think every single company had like Postgres. Nothing in the MySQL or MariaDB stuff. No, in university we actually had MariaDB, but I didn't actually do anything with MariaDB at that point, because everything was managed via Django at that point, which is a Python framework, which also comes with an ORM. Thanks for the insight on this, by the way. I appreciate it. Never mind. When we actually deploy this, and I make changes inside of here, when we deploy this, these values will be replaced by the actual, like the actual values that we provide right here. So when I go back into the newsletter, to the workflow, to do a little bit of fiddly stuff, to just check it out, I cannot copy it back one-to-one, unfortunately. The other version would be to take this, copy it over into a new one, and then fiddle around with it. That would be a workflow that is probably more efficient than what I'm doing currently, which is take this, go back, take this, and then replace every single of those template little strings manually again. And as those grow and grow more, it's not going to be fun, I don't think. Yeah, what kind of database? You were on the MongoDB part, right? If I remember correctly. Anybody else? What kind of databases have you used? Oh man, it's already 21 o'clock. Let's deploy this dude. I think we're good at this point. We can deploy it. It's going to have a new name. So we have like duplicated. We've also used Redis. Nice. As a cache or actually as a database? Because that is actually kind of possible as far as I've heard with those, I think it's Redis Enterprise, right? Both as a database and a cache. Wow. Yeah, and it's very, 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 very quick, right? Let's deploy this. I think we're good. We will not have the API gateway set up, but we will do that in another setup then. So Sam, validate first. For using as database, it's expensive. Oh, is that so? Because you need a lot of RAM. That makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, if you have like 16 or maybe 128 gigs, that is still, as a database, that is not as much data, depending on the company, right? Sam build, and then Sam deploy. I think if that works, I'm happy for today. More than happy, actually. We did a bunch of stuff, learned a bunch of stuff. Failed. Unable to upload artifact states. I made a typo. It's called state machines. I see the S there. States minus, yeah. Man, how many typos I made. Sam build. Sam deploy. Do it. that should do it. That should do it. We learned how to put something under SAM control. Isn't that exciting? Implicitly, we also learned how to put something on the CloudFormation control, which is a nice byproduct. But in extension, we also know how. No, in extension is actually vice versa, right? Yeah, we learned how to put something on the SAM control by putting something on the CloudFormation control. And we have a couple of more resources now inside of our SAM template here. Very nice. So subscribe role is going to be deployed, and we don't have to actually provide the role. Be aware of that. It just creates the role automatically from this policies property, and it inline it writes inline policies for all of these, which is nice. And it also creates a step function. You've also used Cosmos DB. It's MongoDB compatible DB. I've used on stream actually. We set up everything for TWAS. In fact, for TWAS, we actually in fact set up. Cosmos DB can do a lot, right? By the way, just being excited. AWS document DB. But it was expensive. This is like a MongoDB compatible Amazon thing. It didn't work. It did it? Oh, it did work. It was so fast, I thought it didn't work. It did work. Document DB being exactly MongoDB. Actually, if you look into it, I think it is MongoDB, but they trimmed the hell out of it. So it's actually faster than MongoDB, like most MongoDBs. Apparently it's 750 hours for the first month. Only for 1 month and not for 12 months. They kind of they are cutting down on the AWS free tier, are they? I kind of have a feeling. So 750 hours is pretty much exactly 1 month. I think 768 hours is 31 days, 24 hours. If I remember correctly. 25 times... No, it's 744. Never mind. They're cutting down. So it's not only just my imagination. Yeah. When we were using this, it didn't have a free tier at that point, I think, or I was already over the free tier, 3 months. It was expensive, in particular because we had it in. It gets. Let me see. The DynamoDB in itself was not expensive, but it duplicated the data across 3 availability zones, and this duplication incurred so many network traffic that it was just unbearable. I would have paid like $120 just for network traffic without actually with having like maybe 20 entries inside of the database. $120 across a year for a stream that I'm doing for fun. So that was way too much. What I eventually did do is go to MongoDB Atlas, which gives you a I think it depends on how much you use. There's a serverless option. There's also a free option. Apparently they did not include the free option. Try for free. Free for error for free clusters. There is it is limited in terms of storage, but it's more than enough. Yeah, it was $120 for networking, so like $10 per month, just incurring replication fees without actually doing anything. There was the most ridiculous part was it wasn't doing anything. because I stream. At that point I streamed once a week. So I wrote to it like two hours a week. 512. Okay, so it's not 512 MB to 5 GB. Okay. Yeah, and now we're using that one. We will never reach with our so we can actually sign in, and I can show you the data from the game we played earlier. 5 gigs is $25 a month. Oh, it's not too little. Again. Inside of here we have somewhere over the ocean, Mongo Atlas, collection adventurers. Come on, load, please. And that's for this game here. For this one. Come on, you can do it. Still working. I like that they actually changed the name. I like that they changed the loading screen. Come on. No, it's ridiculously small. Seriously. It's ridiculously small. But probably it doesn't get any kind of traffic, so they kind of put it on hold or something. I don't know. Maybe they optimize it for that. An error code. Oh, maybe maybe it has some problems currently. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. There it is. There we go. How many documents have we? This is all. This is all there's to it. 8. Currently 8 people played. There's me. I only have 45 HP left. I'm already at level 6. There's 3 red top hats who's already at level 2. He has 118. Homeless, you have 100. I think when you played, it bugged out, right? Last time. That's why I think I've kind of reimbursed all of your HP, and you're all also still at level 1. We see CodeMat is now at level 2. Why is did Hector not play with us earlier today? Oh no, it was Jay. Jay played with us. All of these guys are on level 2. I think there's no way. Oh no, you if you join and the game crashes, then you will be inside of here and you will be on level 1. Otherwise, as soon as we win a battle together, you will be on level 2 after the battle. Yeah, the battles are slightly more interesting. This is a complete log of the battles. Are these ordered by date? 2022-07, that's long ago. Shouldn't there be one like for today? Is that broken? Okay. Apparently that one's broken. Interesting. Do I have anything in the console? Oh, maybe we have more entries. Yeah, we only see that's why. Okay, everything's good. Everything's good. Yeah, it's ordered by insert. Oldest first. I have no idea why would you order by oldest first, except it's the default order inside of MongoDB. Then it makes sense. But otherwise, oldest newest first is always statistically most likely more important than oldest first. And then we see here inside the log, apparently a monster appeared. This is just log, one very long string. Why did it turn into just one very long string? I would have expected it to actually be different, but yeah. So we have the complete data actually, what happened. We see somebody did an attack, Max did an attack onto the skeleton. The skeleton received... no, Max did actually receive damage. And the monster attacked Max. Max has like 141 HP left, and the damage the skeleton did was 1 HP. Then TypeScript time casted ice and so on. If we had a timestamp for each of these, we could actually replay this whenever we wanted to. But apparently I did not put in a timestamp. Why? I do not remember. Anyway, so yeah. Did we deploy it? I think we did deploy it. Let's take a quick look at our state machines. Yeah, I want to leave. We see subscribe in here, and we should see, if we go to edit, we should see, this is the same workflow that we had before. We should see that the email contact list name has actually been replaced with email newsletter. We should see that if I go to send email, we see TypeScript@gmail.com for source, and we see template welcome. We still have to transform this one to version 2, in fact, in terms of API versions, but we do that later. Very nice, it worked. Very good. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with me. Next time we will continue with more infrastructure as code. Let me see whether I can stream tomorrow. I probably am able to stream tomorrow. Yeah, looks good, looks good. How much does SES cost? SES is actually very free. Where's the free tier? It is actually one of the services where you can... it is always free, and you have 62,000 outbound messages per month free. With the 1 second delay, actually, 30 times 24 times, sorry, yeah, 24 hours per 26. Okay, that's more. That's more. Yeah, so that one is good, but only if you call it from SE. Oh, you might be right. Per month, you are right. Otherwise, I think it's 1,000 inbound. Oh, you're right. Darn. Damn it. I misread that. Good point, good point. Thank you so much. If I call it from other instance, like said, I don't know. I cannot tell you. They probably describe something here. It's sending from an email client or other package. It's 10 cents for every 1,000 emails, which is okay-ish. That means your newsletter. So if we have a blog and we have 1,000 subscribers, each of those new blog articles needs to create each of the, not only the blog articles, but each of those 1,000 emails needs to create $10 in terms of revenue, like ad revenue, maybe affiliate revenue, or whichever type of monetization you have on your blog, for this one to actually work. I'm happy that you told me this, because in here I actually say that it's free. Yeah. But that's not true. Asia Pacific. We probably on the US East, it's the same pricing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Very good point. So, SES is not free. Great. Thank you so much. That helps a lot. That helps a lot. I appreciate it. Also, use and ask me questions. Also providing data, providing answers to my questions. Like how much is can you have on Atlas and whatnot. Thank you so much. That helps a lot. That helps a lot. I love this collaboration and cooperation. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much for joining, everybody. Did we !HF already? Yeah, we shared some tea. Our workflow seems to be working. Do I still have access to the email? I do. Let's finish. I'm getting hungry. Also, my concentration goes down. I thank you so much for joining. I hope to see you next time in the TypeScript tea time, which will be tomorrow. Actually, in the morning, like 12-ish, 14 hours from now, probably. If you've liked what you've seen, consider following and subscribing, maybe. And other than that, yeah, we're doing AWS stuff recently. And we'll continue more with AWS stuff tomorrow. We have still some infrastructure to bring under our control that is currently rogue. And rogue infrastructure is prohibited under the Rogue Code Act 1964. Shout out on this occasion to Finite Singularity. Is he online? If so, we can rate him. Unfortunately not. Unfortunately. Let's try to go to the Alt F4 stream. They are doing, and they are way better in DevOps than I am. So that's going to be interesting. They are currently on break, but they should be right back in a couple of minutes, I hope. So thank you so much. Hope to see you next time in TypeScript tea time. Goodbye, everybody. See you around then.